We make our way to homecoming, which is 3 weeks away now. Seemed like forever ago. Now we're right close. Luke 15. In this text, we've probably heard sermons on it before, had Bible studies on it before, maybe read it, done our own devotion. One son, he leaves home after demanding his share of the estate. He hits rock bottom. He's a Jewish boy feeding pigs. He comes to his senses. He goes home. Then while the other son doesn't leave home, he's still spiritually distant, emotionally distant from the father who's right there. So as we read and study the passage, we can learn about ourselves. And are we like either son? Maybe you say, oh no, I'm not like that younger son. But it might be harder to say, that older son, maybe I'm like him, or maybe I used to be like him. But we'll read, we'll dig, we'll see what we can find in this text. So Luke 15, we'll start at verse 11 and read through the remainder of the chapter. To illustrate the point further, what he had been saying in the parable of the sheep and the coin, Jesus told them this story. A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now before you die. So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, At home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am, dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and am no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet. And kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. So the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. And he asked one of the servants what was going on. Your brother is back, he was told, and your father has killed the fattened calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and would not go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, All these years I've slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me. And in all that time you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf. His father said to him, Look, dear son, you have always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found. Of course, most translations begin our text with telling us that Jesus said, or he continued. But I do like how the New Living phrases it. To illustrate this point further, we start back at the beginning of chapter 15. The Pharisees, the religious leaders, they were grumbling. Why is Jesus hanging out with, eating with, socializing with tax collectors and sinners? Doesn't he know who they are? He should be just only hanging out with us. We're the good guys. We're the ones that know the law. But the point of the first two parables in this chapter was that everyone matters. Everyone has value. Everyone is worthy of being searched for and found. Of course, we know that didn't sit well with people that thought, we have it figured out. We're good. Of course, the summary of this parable is that one son couldn't wait for his father to die so he could have a share of the estate. Did the other son put up a stink about it? We don't read about that. Whoa there, younger brother, how dare you wish our father to die? Oh, well, if you get, I get a double portion. We don't read that in the text, do we? One son wasted the money, while the other wasted the time he had with the father. Both are prodigals. One, yes, squandered resources. The other squandered a relationship. So we'll dig and we'll see if we are like either one. Because in this text, we've read it before. A father is given a unique request. One that many, if not most, or the vast majority, actually probably every father that would have received that request probably would have said what? No. It had been a slap in the face. It was a major insult. Father, I can't wait for you to die before I get stuff, money, maybe some land. And being the younger son, I'm not going to get as much as my older brother, because the older brother received a double portion. So with two sons, it would have been divided up into thirds. The older son would have got 2/3. The younger son, 1/3. He wanted his father to hurry up and die so he could get the inheritance, perhaps move out and do whatever he wanted to do. Of course, a lot easier to do if you have money, right? The father granted his son's request. So the younger son set off, and the money was wasted or squandered. I think most translations say use probably one of the two words, wasted or squandered, and we know what that means. It was wasted or squandered on living that was, according to various translations, riotous, reckless, foolish, wild, or reckless and immoral. Not good things that this son wasted the family wealth on. And the Greek word that is used here only appears in this passage. It's asotos, azotos. And it can mean wildly, loosely, or in debauchery. You might be thinking in your head, oh yeah, that's, regardless of what it was, because it doesn't go into detail, we could probably figure out what he was doing. And then the older son had his theory of how he spent the money. But it's not good. It was definitely wasted. He didn't take the money and go out and start a business or buy more land and start his own family. It was squandered. What the father and generations before him had worked on and built and saved, quickly gone. We probably know how we would feel if a sibling would have taken mom and dad or grandpa's or whoever generations back, whatever it was, money or family heirlooms, and wasted it, destroyed it. We probably would be, why? Such a waste. While we might not know what the younger son wasted the money on, we know maybe what we would have wasted the money on. Or we can think back to our life before we were Christians. I know how I used to live. I know what I spent my money on. Maybe something similar. Or perhaps even now, we know what we are tempted with. Could be something similar. We know what wants to drag us away from our relationship with God. course, before someone is saved, they are wasting time, resources, skills, abilities, and so much more in the pursuit of selfish pleasures, making sure they are number one, trying to be the best and biggest for themselves. I want people to know me. I want the most. I want the biggest, the newest, the best. Of course, having things in and of itself isn't wrong. It's our motivation, our attitude, what we do with it once we do have it. Is it mine? Or am I willing to help others? If you're real quick, you can flip to 1 John chapter 2. We've got 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Jude, and Revelation. That's toward the end of the New Testament. 1 John chapter 2, verses 15, 16, and 17. This is the passage that the King James has, the warning of lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. So 1 John 2, we'll read verses 15, 16, and 17. The heading is, Do Not Love This World. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure. It's the lust of the flesh. A craving for everything we see. Lust of the eyes. And a pride in our achievements and possessions. Pride of life. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. And this world is fading away, along with everything that people crave. But anyone who does what pleases God will live forever. That's what this younger son was after. Whatever looked good, whatever he craved at that particular moment, at least before his money ran out, he could get. I can have all the food I want, all the drink I want, and other things. And that's what unsaved people are after. That's what anyone that is not pursuing God and His will are after. I'm either chasing God, pursuing Him, wanting His will, wanting to be like Him, or I'm chasing anything and everything else, and it really doesn't matter what that other thing is because I'm not chasing after God. If God is that way and I'm going any which other direction, I'm in trouble. We're either working to build our kingdom or His. There's no real other way to say it. I'm working for myself or I'm working for God. We're doing what we want to do or we're doing what He wants us to do. We have the guidebook. We have the answers. The younger son squandered a third of the family wealth. He had hit the bottom of the barrel. Pretty much not any much lower a Jewish boy could have went. I got nothing else to do, but I guess I could feed pigs. Would have been unheard of. Jews didn't touch pigs. They didn't eat pork. They didn't work with them. It was against the law. It would have been quite scandalous. A Jewish boy feeding pigs and wanting to eat their food. I am so hungry. Pig slop looks pretty good. I hope none of you guys have ever been that hungry. I'm glad I've never been that destitute to where it's like, garbage looks good. But that's where this boy was at. But he finally came to his senses. He knew that the best course of action would be to go back home. Maybe that was us growing up. Had a spat with mom and dad, and I'm out of here. Uh-oh. I can't make it on my own. I got to eat that humble pie, right? Mommy, Daddy, I goofed. Big time. He's had to do that. And the same is true of people before they get saved, and even if they are saved, but they're running away from God. Yeah, I'm committed, but this sounds better. I've lost friends and jobs, and I don't want that. I want them back more than I want want God. They're in the world pursuing sinful things, and for many it does take a tragedy, an illness, an accident, something we wouldn't wish on anybody to get them to come to God. Even just the culmination of many poor choices before they leave sin behind and make things right with God. This piled up on this and this and this and this, and I'm buried. And my only hope is going to God. He's the only one that can clear off the rubble. He's the only one that can pick me up, dust me off, and say, we're going to start all over. It's okay. Because during this time, was Dad just sitting in the house, going about his business, forgetting about the son that left? No, he was waiting. He was looking longingly for his boy to come home. Is it going to be today? How about today? The next day, how about today? He's all the time looking down the road, expecting his son to return. Because our Heavenly Father is doing the same thing for those who are estranged to Him right now. He wants them. Maybe it's even one of us. Maybe it's our friends, our family, our neighbors, our co-workers. We all know people that are not right with God. Be it for the first time or they've wandered away. Those are the people that we need to tell, come home. There's no better place to be than home. Like, who doesn't like to go on vacation? This is like the trip home sometimes seems to be a lot shorter than the trip there. Your own bed is just nice to get into. Your own recliner. It's nice. Home is great. Because we've lived a lot of places, I always say, home is where the Rachel is. And then she smiles real big. I get points for that. So, take note, guys. But home is a wonderful place. Home is where you're safe, where you should be your happiest. Home. Of course, we don't need an elaborate speech to go home. The son thought he needed, I know what I'll do. I'll convince Dad with my words. I've messed up, I'll work for you. I'm not even worthy. We don't have to beg God for a lowly status. It doesn't matter how far a person is from God, because when they decide to come home, where is He? Right there. I went 1,000,000 miles away, Lord, but I'm ready to come home. We don't have to walk that 1,000,000 miles back. We turn around and welcome home. Party starts in heaven. Somebody joke about it, like, we need to be party starters. Didn't know that, right? You're party planners. Put that on your resume. What do you mean you're a party planner? Oh, yes. Millions of people have celebrated. Really? And, well, no, there's an opportunity, right? Of course, a person needs faith. They have to realize their status as estranged, as a sinner. I'm just pursuing lusts. That's all we are as sinners. What does my body want? That's what we crave. I want that. I want whatever the sinful thing is more than I want the Lord that says, don't do that. My way's better. The person has to repent. Ask God to forgive them. No. We got the big old list. Admit, believe, confess. I like that we had dunk on there. Because after that, the family was so happy to have him back, he got the best robe put on him. Dad said, get my robe and stick on this boy. Get my ring and put it on his finger. That's how they did business. I sealed the paper. That's more or less my signature. Yeah, the son that, yes, left and took 1/3 of our money can now do business again as a member of the family. That's reconciliation right there. It wasn't just, we're glad you're back. We'll take it easy. We'll see how you do. No, he was welcome right back with full benefits. It was a joyous time because someone went from being as good as dead to being part of the family again. Of course, and as we read, the older brother was not happy. Sometimes like you, especially as if you're an older sibling, or maybe just not the youngest sibling in the family, you might could commiserate a little bit with this man. Yeah, I'd be pretty ticked off too if my younger brother or sister would have squandered what the family had worked for. I'd have been upset. My brother or my sister they're no good for anything. I can understand that. I mean, they are good for stuff. Who knows if they'll watch? Then we stare at them, right? But I can understand where he'd be coming from. I didn't run off. I've been working. I've always worked. And this brother, he didn't even call him brother, this son of yours, he didn't even claim, he's not my brother. He's your son. Of course, later the father turns on him, your brother. Trying to mend fences all the time. He threw a pity party because he didn't feel special or didn't get what he thought was entitled to him. You know, he already received 2/3 of the estate, assuming the father gave him his share right then too. He didn't take advantage of his time in the family or with the father. He just complained. I've worked. I didn't get anything. Pity party. Of course, if we're like the older brother, then we too have to change, right? We can't have that negative attitude. I've been in the faith a long time. Then here comes this person that left forever. And now he's welcome back. That's what the older brother was doing. We can't be negative just because someone went away and come back. We can't be jealous that they have a party thrown for them. Gotta be happy for them. If we're in the family, then we should act like it, and we should be glad when someone is back. When the family's made whole. Yay, they're back. Yay, the pew that they're set in is no longer empty. It's a wonderful thing. When a strange family member comes back, we shouldn't hold grudges or be bitter. We should also celebrate. Glad you're home. Glad you're home. The older brother complained that he wasn't even given a small goat. But he failed to realize that everything the father had was at his disposal. We can't be the same way. God ultimately owns everything, right? You know, the 1,000 hillsides that he owns the animals on. You know, we're saved. We're his children. Jesus is the firstborn of the faith. You know, we're also children. Whatever God has, it's at our disposal too. God, why haven't you done nothing for me? Can't be like that. I've given you salvation. I've given you a relationship with me. The same power that raised Jesus from the dead is there to equip you to live your life, to serve me, to lead others to me. Oh, yeah. We have to be aware and be grateful. Perhaps the older brother wanted to be made a big deal of. Maybe he wanted to be the center of attention. Not this brother who thought he wasted his money in a horrible manner. Prostitutes is what the older brother thought. Of course, again, the text doesn't say what the younger son wasted the money on, but perhaps this is what the older brother would have done. Well, if I had the nerve to leave, that's what I'd do. Maybe he knew his brother. Maybe they had talked. Well, you know, maybe they had shared the same temptation. Or perhaps this was just the worst thing he could think of. But the older brother didn't take the time to enjoy the relationship he had with his father. He just complained. All I do is work and I get nothing. That's his attitude. He should have been busy at the same work as the father. He didn't say, I've been working for you. He might have just been going through the motions. Sometimes we can just get in the habit of things. I did it. Didn't find any enjoyment out of it. Didn't get anything out of it. I showed up. And that's us. Is my attitude where it's supposed to be before I pray, before I study, before I come to church? He should have been busy at the same work. And we too should be busy at kingdom work and looking for others to return. And yes, even doing what we can to get them there. What can I do to get someone to come home to God? So if we're like the younger son, then yeah, we do have to go home, do we not? That's the only place we'll find forgiveness, the only place we'll find peace, the only place we'll be made whole again. We have to leave our life of rebellion behind. We must repent. We must seek God in His righteousness. And then our life is better for it now and in eternity. We have Him to lean on. We have a church family for support. And you can think about all the things you've went through in your life. It would have been harder if you didn't have God to pray to. You didn't have a church family to pray with you or to help you out or visit you or take you somewhere or send you a card. Be tough, wouldn't it? Of course, if we're like the older son, then we must rejoice when someone comes home. Yeah, someone might say, yeah, and honestly, be nice if someone would have come home, weeks ago, months ago, years ago. But if they're still drawing breath, there's opportunity for them to be saved, for them to recommit, for them to come home. We must not take our opportunity to serve and be with our Heavenly Father for granted. I have the opportunity to study this book. Do I? I have the opportunity to pray to God every single day, morning, noon, and night. We all have opportunities. Do we take opportunity? At least still in this country for now, we have the ability to freely gather. Do we take advantage of that? A lot of people in other countries aren't allowed to own Bibles. They will be killed if they're found with a Bible, even on their phones. People were stopped. Let us check your phone. There's a Bible on here. Boom. Or they're hung or stoned or however they're killed. It's not good. But do we shirk back or do we go, no, I can do it, so I'm going to do it. Don't let any more time pass by when you could be busy at kingdom work. That's all of us. We all have things to do. We all have gifts and abilities and talents. Some things that some of you can do is like, I wish I could do that, but either this and or these will not cooperate. They won't do it. Or like he was like, I understand it, but these things won't do it. And there might be things that I know how to do that maybe you wish you could. And there's some things that we have to work together to do. So we need to be busy with kingdom work, not just for busyness' sake, but for the right reasons. Enlarging and strengthening the family of God. And that's your message for this morning. And I thank you for your time.